was never really good playing role of the puppet. Too busy being me to be concerned with perception of the public. Everyone is buzzing, but everybody ain't thinking about a budget. I want ownership in something. Niggas get they win.
While Nintendo Switch 2 backwards compatibility will let you play a broad range of many of the original Switch's library, it isn't completely all-encompassing. Nintendo says there were some notable technical challenges in fully supporting the previous system's library. Instead, Dota says Switch 2 uses something that's somewhere in between a software emulator and hardware compatibility, with a process that converts Switch 1 data into something Switch 2 can handle in real time as the game runs. A true software emulator would take too great a toll on the system's battery, Nintendo says. Nintendo has already published an initial list of Switch 1 games that won't run on Switch 2, and there are some notable names in there, including highly demanding ports like Doom Eternal and certain emulated games, including several Arcade Archives titles. Those games won't launch at all, but there's an additional list of games that work with some in-game compatibility issues, including Fall Guys, Factorio, and Alien Isolation. Several dozen titles are included in the non-compatible lists, but it's worth noting that 122 first-party games and over 15,000 third-party titles are greenlit for backwards compatibility. Nintendo says it's continuing to improve compatibility, including by working with publishing and developing partners. Bravely Default is making another comeback, and the series producer hopes the team can continue making games into the future. In yesterday's Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, Square Enix announced that Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster is giving the cult classic a facelift, restoring its online features and adding in minigames that take advantage of the console's unique gimmicks. Bravely series general producer Tomoya Asano celebrated the news with a thank you note to fans, while hinting at a potential future for the turn-based throwback games.
Recently, there's been a lot of talk about the Nintendo Switch and things of that nature, and I put mine in for pre-order. Of course, I wanted one, but it's a lot of news and information being put out there, and things about the $80 price point of a Mario Kart game, and I'm like, hey, I think the game should be on par with, PS5 and everything else. $60 to $70. $80, a little bit too much. But if it's a special edition, which I've seen with Sony and the PS5, then yeah, but it has to be worth it as far as the gameplay goes, the graphical situation, and also it has to have that experience that a $80, $70 to $80 deluxe edition should have, right? And understandably, it's a flagship Mario game, so you always gonna have the Mario game, right? You're gonna have the Super Mario Bros. You're gonna have the Mario RPG style game, right? Or you're gonna have like a regular Super Mario Bros. Type game. You're gonna have something Mario with every drop. Just like you had Sunshine for the 64, you had Odyssey for I believe the Switch, and however they had it for Wii U, also had some type of flagship Mario game, or Zelda, or some type of Pokemon release with, or Donkey Kong with a Switch. For this year, as far as the launch game, you're getting a Mario Kart game, you're getting a bunch of Switch 1 or Switch 2 edition, Switch 1 games, and you're also getting, like a month after the system drops, you're getting the Donkey Kong game. So
the Nintendo Switch 2 system can however you like to play. In TV to play on a bigger screen.
Not a bang.
Place your system however you like using the stand.
You're getting something.
And share control like, anywhere you go.
You're just dropping this $450, $500 system.
All together, and
one game.
some features
now, normally I do
and
not
how it's
buy
improved
games
from the Nintendo.
And that's
at 7.9
primarily
inches,
because
Switch 2 has a bigger built-in screen. Here's how that compares to Nintendo. System's thickness remains the same.
With the second year batch, but
with approximately double the pixels compared to Switch, the screen supports up to 120 frames per second, allowing for smoother gameplay and supported titles.
I want it in hand, right? I want to see what it does. That's why you want it.
The LCD screen is more vivid and supports HDR, providing more contrast between light and dark areas. New Joy-Con 2 controllers connect magnetic controller easily by pressing the release button on the back.
Daily entertainment or weekly entertainment, however much you play the game, right? You want that.
By adjusting the audio balance between the ranges, reading and writing data is also faster.
They're limited, most likely, and if they're not limited and they ship enough,
use the Nintendo Switch 2 dock
to
connect to your TV and enable up to 4K resolution
it may not even be
for
limited.
compatible games.
It may just be like, hey,
HDR is also supported.
Ship this many systems. They sold out, right? Well, your money may not match up with that time frame. Okay, boom. My check where, hey, all my bills are on, and this is going on, that's going on. Hey, it might be the child having graduation, and that child may want that system, so you may have to, hey, listen, I'm gonna get the system as a graduation present or whatever for the child, and you end up, hey, no, I'm gonna just hold back. But once one is in the house, it's in the house, so there's that. But sometimes whatever it may be, you may not be able to get that system at launch. So sometimes it works out for the benefit. Now, I've never been able to really get a launch system. I've always got year 1, year 2, year 3, or the end of year 1, whatever the console cycle. I've never gotten one at launch, right? My Switch, I didn't get a Switch until I got the Switch Lite. Then I went back and bought the original Switch, right? Well, a regular Switch, not a Lite. So, when it comes to the Wii, I've never had the Wii U, so that was that. And then the Wii, of course, was one was in the house, but it wasn't my Wii. But I'd played with it, and I was like, even with the GameCube, right? We had one, but it wasn't the first. You didn't get it the first year, so I've never had a system. PlayStation, Sega, whatever have you. I've never gotten the system that first year, so I may not be able to get the Switch 2 this year, right? Or right away. Like my PS5, it took me a while to get my PS5, but once I got it, I loved it. It's the PS5, and it's Final Fantasy is exclusive. That's one of my favorite game franchises, along with Tekken, But I don't want the same thing. I don't expect the same thing out of my PS5 that I expect out of my Nintendo. I just don't. I expect this Switch 2 to be light years better than the Switch 1, but I don't expect it to be the PS5 or to beat the PS5 or to compete with the PS5 because Nintendo never marketed themselves that way. So why would I expect them to do something that they've never done? And if they are doing it, they're not going to go to compete neck and neck with it. They're going to sit right under board, right under board. So we'll see what happens.